Good morning. It is June, and we are here with another weekly real estate update. We have so much to talk about today. We've got weekly stats, we've got the crazy interest rate news, which Jaden is going to touch on, and we're also going to wrap up May. What did May look like, and what is kind of trending here into June? Because we have some very interesting weekly stats that are kind of telling the story here of what I believe is going to start happening here over the next couple of months. So Jaden Bax is alongside. He is in the saddle back in his home province of Alberta. So welcome back, Jaden. That beard is looking pretty epic.
Yeah, this is definitely a beach beard. This is coming off as soon as I am over my jet lag.
Exactly. All right, so let's do the weekly stats first. So a couple of things that I'm going to point out here. So we had 400 new detached listings come on the market, 368 sold, only 304 pendings for a total of 672. You can see if you go back on the right-hand side of the screen here till the end of April, early May, that is a massive decrease. I mean, even if you look at, the last 3 weeks ago until today, very, very big decrease in sales and pendings. Look at the net difference. Now, I will say I made an error last week in my calculations. So this is now all corrected. But look at the big drop off from 12th to the 19th to the 19th to the 26th of May. So we had May long weekend in there. So I thought that might be it. But then now this week, only plus 272. We are definitely, and I've said this, I think for a couple of weeks now, the market has definitely shifted. In Tales from the Field, we're going to talk about a couple of examples where, if you have your home priced right at the beginning, as we preach all the time, you can still get multiple offers. You can still get an offer on the first day, but it's very important how we do that, how we price your home right from the start. So price reduced, 289, almost 300 detached price reductions. Keep in mind, these are all detached stats here. That's huge. That is the largest number we've seen all year. Total detached listings, again, continues to creep up to 2,075. And our total listings at 4,275, another creep from last week. So when we look at last year at the same time, our sales and our new listings are almost identical to where we were last year. The big difference here is that our active listings, and again, these active listings, unlike my previous slide, include pending or conditionally sold, were 23% below where we were last year. Look at that number last year, 6,802 compared to 5,233 this year. So that's, I think, what's still contributing to the seller's market that we're in, although that is definitely shifting. Median price, again, the pricing I don't really worry about too much. Our days on market crept up again in this week compared to last year, up to 26. So we're creeping, right? It's a slow creep. It's like when you gain weight, right? It's like it doesn't just happen overnight. It creeps like a pound a week, a pound a week, a pound a week. I can speak to that personally. All right, so over to you, Jaden. Obviously, huge interest rate news. You have been on the, even before this all happened, you were a huge proponent of variable rate mortgages. I would think even more now than ever, right?
Well, I continue to be, and actually, I think that's one of the misconceptions, right? So people who are in fixed rates or thinking about getting into a fixed rate, which I do not suggest right now, we're very, very worried about this announcement by the government yesterday. And so the problem is that the fixed rate market and the variable rate market are based on two different markets, right? So the fixed rate is based on the bond market and what you can buy bonds at. And right now we consider the fixed rate market to be pretty close to the peak of what it's going to be in the near future. So we think we're kind of peaking out. One of the interesting things about fixed rates is as bond pricing gets higher, just about instantaneously the banks will increase their fixed rates as well, right? So they'll follow up that bond market. The bond market has been slowly going down the last little bit, and so but the lenders do not instantaneously go down. What generally speaking happens is somebody bites the bullet, wants to be first to market because they have not enough fixed in their basket, in their mix of mortgages, and so they'll do that, and then shortly after, everyone else will follow suit. So We don't expect big increases over the summer in fixed rates. What happened yesterday, and when you look at these variable rates, they are not accurate. They're still based on a few lenders who haven't increased their prime rate.
Mm,
Yesterday, what happened is the Bank of Canada overnight rate increased by 0.5%, which increased the prime rate of just about all lenders to 0.5%. So that
right.
3-year and 5-year variable on the top, it's actually 2.6 and 2.7 right now. I'm getting a ton of calls from my past clients at variable saying, because you always have the option with variable to lock into fixed at any time. Should we lock into fixed? I'm saying absolutely. Please don't do it
Yeah,
now. They're saying
right,
why not?
right.
That we know that it's gone up twice this year, might go up again. We're very worried about that. And I'm saying, well, because fixed is at near peak. Why would you make a panic move and knock in or lock into the near peak pricing? Where with this last rise of 0.5 percent, you're increasing your payments by about $26 a month per $100,000 of mortgage that you have. So,
All right.
if you have $300,000 outstanding on your mortgage, your monthly mortgage price has gone up about $75, about maybe
Okay.
closer to 80.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what we're saying is don't increase it by 200 to avoid increasing it by 75, right? We think that there's going to be an opportunity as fixed rates go down to maybe lock in later if you're really worried about the changing variable rates. But historically, if you ever had the opportunity to lock in at fixed and variable on the same day, the variable will almost always beat it. It's like over 90% of the time over a 5-year period, right? So when we talk to people, just be calm, be patient. We don't think that it's going up while we get rid of this inflation that has been caused by other things that are maybe not great policy from our federal government and other things under their control as well. But just be patient with this variable because it will be the best financial decision for you over the next 3 to 5 years.
All right. Great stuff right there. Again, so the reality is don't panic. Talk to Jaden. If Jaden isn't your mortgage broker, well, what are you thinking? No, but talk to somebody that's in the know. Don't base your decision, as we always say, the media always hyperbolizes these types of issues. And we're not saying it's not real, but have a conversation. How does it actually affect you? Jaden gave that great example, $75 a month in the variable rate increase on a $300,000 mortgage. That's not a reason to go get, what was it, $200 more a month or whatever it would be, Jaden, on a
Yeah,
fixed?
so it would be somewhere in that if you're jumping up that 2% or that 1.5 to 2%, right?
Right. All right, so let's run through some May 2022 market highlights. So here is the headline was seller's market, or market still favors the seller, but sales have decreased, and I think that's what we've seen in our weekly updates for sure. So here is kind of some highlights that I've pulled from Krebs' massive monthly dump of data, which we very much appreciate as realtors. It's great information. But here's it kind of refined. What do you need to know if you're selling, if you're buying, if you're just curious about what the market is doing? So we saw sales activity trending down again in May for the second month in a row after that record high of sales in March. We're still slightly higher than last year for total sales. And our detached sales trended down in all areas except the Northeast and the East. And the reason for that is because they are a less expensive area. So they're getting more uptick because people, whether it's investments, moving from other areas, people moving up, first-time home buyers can afford to live in those areas. So our detached benchmark price still rose 17%. So there's a little bit of bad news here, but if you're loving this, if you're a seller, 648.5 for detached benchmark price, total sales of 1620 on inventory of 2,552. Again, so we're going to see this theme throughout this market highlight part of our show today, slowing sales. So semi-detached sales slowed. They're still higher than long-term averages. Prices went up 15% to 584.7. Row townhouse sales higher than last year and higher and record high for May. So I would say the one little pocket here is row townhouses because they're still the most affordable, I guess if you could say, home compared to an apartment condo. 1.5 months of supply. And again, what does that mean? It's the amount of time it would take for the current inventory to sell if no more inventory was added. 2 months, 3 months and under. 3 months, we start to get to more of a balanced situation. Prices rose 17% for you row townhouse owners, sellers, buyers. 363.3. Apartment sales eased again in May, and I think we're starting to see supply come back because we're over 2 months of supply now. But prices rose almost 9% to 279, and for some reason I didn't get my air. Oh, shoot. All right, how am I going to do this? Technology. Let's see if I can. I had Airdrie, Cochrane. I'm just going to read these out to you. So Airdrie, for the first time in 2 years, sales actually eased over last year's levels, but months of supply are just over 1 month, right? So they're still in a seller's market. Prices rose 25% year over year, right? So easing sales, but still massive price increases. Cochrane, I'll tell you, if you want to sell a house and you live in Cochrane, now is the time. Inventory is just not there right now. It's under 1 month, 18% price increases year over year. Okotoks, see, I talked about Okotoks. I pumped their tires about a month ago, Jaden, and now that inventory, those prices rose 19%. Actually, when I was updating this, I saw my March update, and it was only 13% in March. So Okotoks, nice. Yeah, so that's kind of the update there. I apologize that slide did not get somehow downloaded to my package, but you know, the bottom line is sales are easing, and now we're going to talk a little bit of tales from the field here. So sales are easing, but homes are still selling in a day. How does that work, right? Well, if you look at those inventory levels, they're still not, we're still 23% based week to week, year over year, but we're still probably overall about 20% down in inventory from where we normally are. So when you put a townhouse in a really nice complex in Oak Ridge with some updating on the market, like I did a week ago Friday, you get an offer on the first day because you price it correctly. So how we do this is, so in this particular example, and I wish I had some, you know, some actual comps to show you, but I'm going to just kind of capsulize it for you this way. A unit in that complex, fully updated, new kitchen, new bathrooms, new flooring, new lighting, new paint, just sold in the previous month for $400. My client's condo had a newer kitchen, recent updating, hot water tank, furnace, things like that. So we knew, so the bathrooms are original. The carpet is newer, but it has some staining in some spots. So somebody's probably going to walk in and may replace flooring. So that's, you start adding those numbers up, and then listed at 370, and we have an accepted offer. I can't disclose what the offer is, but it's accepted. It's conditionally sold above asking. Didn't underprice it, priced it at the market, but we knew there was demand there, so we got an offer on the first day. My good friend Holly Bennett, who's one of my partners at eXp Realty, listed her property in Shaughnessy. I'll say Shaughnessy, one of the southern communities, just south of me in Woodbine, and she had 6 offers on the first weekend. Again, priced it at the market, but there's still demand in those pockets, right? So I think the bottom line, when you see all those price reductions too, Jaden, is you can't come on high, right?
Oh, absolutely. And we're seeing that even the mortgages that I'm writing for people, very, very seldom am I seeing purchase contracts come in under the value of what the price was on MLS, right? Because it's those things aren't selling right now.
Well, as an example, I pulled some comparables for a client who's looking at possibly investment, possible resident, home to live in, and the community was Aaron Woods. Aaron Woods, right? I would say that it's a community that has maybe struggled in terms of price increases over the years, and even in that community, I think prices were up. I can't remember the exact number. What I can tell you is 100% of asking price is what homes we're getting in the last 45 days, detached homes, and they're selling in 22 days on market. So, so that's some good sharp pricing by the realtors who have listings in those areas. But, again, pricing it right from the beginning, it doesn't matter what market you're in, right? Even in this kind of market, I think there was a bit of an exception there. We kind of went off into the twilight zone in January and February, where it's like, price it wherever, it'll sell. But that is not the case now. Not the case now. And that was a blip on the radar. And generally speaking, get it priced right from the beginning, because your first 2 weeks of the listing is when you have the most interactions with it. So anyway, that was a lot of information. I hope you found that helpful. As always, reach out to Jayden or I, depending on what question you have. But make sure it's Jayden this week, because I think you might have some mortgage questions for him. And Jayden, any final thoughts? Any last thing you want to say about the crazy interest stuff?
No, I just, again, don't panic, right? It's all worth the conversation. And what it comes down to is, at the end of the day, a mortgage is math, right? How can we make sure that in that 5-year, 3-year, 1-year term, you are paying the least amount of interest and the least amount of cost possible? And how can we set you up to pay that house down as quickly as possible? So call me. I'm always happy to dig further in the details. And let you know the hard numbers on how we're going to do that.
Awesome. Thanks everybody for watching, whether it was live or later on Facebook or YouTube, and we will talk to you next week.